Welcome to Mindsync. I am Bastin Benny and you're watching Mindsync series on BIS. Mindsync is a professional organization providing compliance, consulting, legal and advisory services. The government has recently made an important announcement that affects the manufacturing industry. It's all about the mandatory registration for bolts, nuts and fasteners under the Quality Control Order 2023. Starting with effective date, it's 6 months from the notice of this order, which is 31st July plus 6 months, by which every large enterprises must meet the new quality standard. Small enterprises have 9 months, while micro enterprises have 12 months. Now let's talk about exemption. There are a few cases where this order doesn't apply. Firstly, when it comes to export. Secondly, if you are importing goods solely for the purpose of export, you are exempt. But remember, the entire import must be exported. Lastly, there is an exemption for those whose investment in plant and machinery doesn't exceed 25 lakh and the turnover stays under 2 crore. This is applicable only if you are registered under MSME. Now let's get into specifics. These are the mandatory Indian standards you need to be aware of. But before we proceed, I encourage you to pause the video and check if your business falls under any of these standards. Our focus today is on the first 5 Indian standards. Let's dive deeper into each of these standards. First is IS 1363 Part 1. It specifies the characteristics of Hexagon Head Bolts. They cover bolts with thread size ranging from metric 5 to metric 64, all falling into the grade C category. Next is IS 1363 Part 2. It specifies the characteristics of Hexagon Head Screws. They cover screws with thread size ranging from metric 5 to metric 64, all falling into the grade C category. And also note that these screws may be of different property classes. Next is IS 1363 Part 3. It specifies the characteristics of Hexagon nuts. They cover nuts with thread size ranging from metric 5 to metric 64 and all falling into the grade C category. The grouping guidelines. We will break it down for you. Guidelines 1. Imagine we have different sizes of bolts like small, medium and large. Now when it comes to testing, we want to be thorough. So we pick one sample from each size category. Think of it as choosing a small, medium and large bolt from the same class. This approach ensures we are covering all the size and their specific requirement for testing. Guidelines 2. Now when we are testing coated sample, we don't forget about their uncoated version. It's like testing both the coated and uncoated version. Test and test equipments. The following 4 tests would be conducted for IS 1363 Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. IS 1364 Part 1 specifies the characteristics of Hexagon Head Bolts. They cover bolts with thread size ranging from metric 1.6 to metric 64, falling into grade A and B. Next, IS 1364 Part 2. It specifies the characteristics of Hexagon Head Screws. They cover screws with thread size ranging from metric 1.6 to metric 64, falling into grade A and B. Grouping guidelines. The first and second is similar to the previous one. The third grouping guidelines. When it comes to different materials like steel, stainless steel and non-ferrous alloy, each one needs its own separate testing. The following 13 tests would be conducted. Registration process. Step 1. Documentation. The first stage is all about paperwork. You will need to provide essential information about your manufacturing unit. This includes documents like factory registration, manufacturing license, a copy of your trademark, and even a factory location map. Moving on to step 2, factory inspection. A factory visit by BIS officer is done for assessment of the production process, quality control, and testing capabilities. Step 3, testing. The sealed sample of product are sent for testing at the BIS approved lab. Step 4, certification. And finally, when your product passes the test, the BIS authority hands you the certificate. It's a clear signal that your product meets the high standards set by the Bureau of Indian Standard. If your business requires certification and license under any scheme of BIS, contact Mindsync. We will be happy to help you.